Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm very excited. This is actually a video that I should have done a while ago, and things happened and it got pushed to the back burner, and then I realized while I've been sitting here trying to make some videos that I never made this one. I wrote a children's book and it was published, and you can get it on Amazon. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about the book. I'll talk about my experience writing the book, our experience getting published. I will leave like publisher and stuff information about the book down in the description box, all of that good stuff. But yeah, if you want to hear a little bit about the book, about my husband and my journey, do keep on watching. Make sure you're subscribed, and yeah, let's jump into it. So this was a tremendous labor of love. It probably, from start to finish, took us almost 2 years to get this published, from start to finish. And when you're a new author and, you know, you've never written a book before, never worked with a publisher, it's slow, especially like something that I think they don't think is going to be super popular. So, I mean, it is what it is. And with the economic circumstances going on, it's a miracle that we even got published, because I don't think people are buying books anymore as much. There are still people that read, but it's just, at least in the US, it's just one of those areas where it's suffering a little bit. So I think it's a miracle that we were even able to get published. But yeah, it was about a 2-year process. Here's a little, if you want to read the back, I have my maiden name on here, so it's Alexander Cannon. I wrote the story, and my husband Mike actually did the illustrations, so we did it together. This is 100% ours. We did have the option when we were, there's a hair stack. We did have an option to work with an illustrator, but obviously it's cheaper for us, because you do have to put up some money up front when you publish, especially being a first-time author. It was cheaper for us to do the illustrations, and it's one of those things, we were able to do it, so why not do it, kind of a thing. So we did it together. So this cover was 100% designed by Mike. This is one of the trucks. This is, I think, the truck that he's currently in. Is on the cover. He took actual photographs and did like photo editing and stuff and made them look like watercolors. So these are all actual photos. This is dedicated. It was such a labor of love. It's hard for me to talk about it without getting emotional, but we dedicated it to our oldest daughter. So yeah, it has mine and Mike's names. I will read a little snippet when we get into it, once I compose myself a little bit better, but there's our oldest daughter. So let me regroup for a minute and we'll come back and finish talking. I'm a little bit better. Not that I mind crying on camera, it's just you can't understand what I'm saying. How this came about was, Mike has been driving now for 4 years. If you're new here and you're not familiar with me, my husband is an over-the-road truck driver. He does long hauls. He does heavy equipment hauling. So has a flatbed. So on average, I think I figured it out, he's home between 4 and 6 days a month. 6 days being a good month, obviously 4 being a bad month. And it just depends on loads and scheduling and time of year and all that. So he's been doing it for 4 years. It's been me and the kids. We have 3 now. We started out obviously with just the 1. We've added 2 more since then. But we've added the other 2 while he's been driving, because I'm crazy. But thankfully my parents and his parents are here. Anyways, he's been driving. So when he started driving, our daughter was, oh goodness, not quite 1. like she had just turned 1, maybe. Yeah, because she's almost 5. So yeah, she was like 1.5. And I was looking for board books, you know, the little kids, you know, hard cardboard books. And this one has paper pages, by the way. But I was looking for a board book on semi-trucks because I thought that would be cute. You know, that's what daddy does. So there are not many books at all on semi-trucks, let alone children's books. Like there's just a hole in the market. And so I was able to find some, you know, construction type books about the equipment that Mike hauled, and like some books on trucks, but not really semi-trucks. Like I said, they don't exist. There just aren't any. I looked and looked all over. So yeah, huge hole in the market. And I was sitting one night and I was like, you know, I could write a children's book. My mom's an English teacher. I grew up writing, you know, taking lots of English classes and writing short stories and essays and poetry and the whole gamut. So I was like looking at children's books and kind of getting a feel for a rhythm, if I wanted it to rhyme or not. And so I was like, I could write a children's book. So I sat down one evening and I wrote the story. And it does rhyme. They don't have to. Children's stories don't have to rhyme if you have children and you've read children's books. There are those shorter ones. We had intended this to be like a board book, and that's not what it ended up being. Like I said, it was interesting working with the publisher. Like I said, it wasn't a horrible experience. This isn't my perfect layout, if I'm going to be honest, but I don't dislike the book and I don't dislike the way it came out. But like there's a section in here where there should have been a picture. Like when you're corresponding with somebody over email and it's your first book, like, I mean, it is what it is. It wasn't a bad experience and they were fairly helpful. I don't dislike the final product by any means, but like if we do another one, we've obviously learned some things from this experience. So moving forward, you know, things will just get better and better. But I sat down and I wrote the story and I presented it to Mike and I was like, what do you think? And he was like, well, see if somebody would be interested. So I went online and I looked up book publishers and I just started emailing book publishers. Like, I want to get published. So it took me a while because not all publishers want to do children's books. So it took me a while to find a publisher that did children's books, that was interested in the story. The contract was drafted up. And we, you know, Mike decided he wanted to try and do the artwork. So we discussed that, and our contract was formatted around that. Because like I said, you can work with an illustrator if you just have a story and you don't want to do anything with the pictures like that. That's not a deal breaker. So and there's a lot of back and forth. You have to send the story, and then you've got to send in all of your artwork and then the, you know, layout and stuff. And then like I had to write all of this, the description on the back. I would try and read this, but it's gonna like make me tear up. Like I've never been able to read this story without tearing up. I don't know why. I think because if you've never like had a relative in the truck driving industry, like it's incredibly hard. It's hard on everybody, the driver, the family. And they're like, there's a huge, I have a towel here in my lap, so I'll just use that. There's a huge divorce rate in the community. I had an uncle growing up, my grandma's oldest sister. He had a moving company, like he owned a major moving company. So I knew like when he was active in the company, what his schedule looked like. Cause we lived in Montana and he would come through. So I knew what that looked like. They lived in California. So I knew going into it that it was going to be hard when we transitioned into this lifestyle. Now we are in a position now where Mike is going to transition and get out of the truck potentially. So that's going to be another new experience, but the sacrifice that has to be made, I think people don't understand if they've never been in it. So I wanted to do something not just for our family, but we're not the only ones with kids. And like I said, I can't imagine me being the only one that was trying to look for a children's book so that our children could kind of relate to what Dad was doing, because all of the kids have been, like the 3-month-old obviously doesn't really understand seeing the truck, but our 15-month-old has been in the truck. Our almost 5-year-old has been in Mike's truck several times. She knows what her dad does, as a little, like, understands that he's gone for work. We FaceTime him. Thankfully, like, it's present day and we are able to FaceTime him when he's gone. Because years ago, like, he would have, like, it was incredible. The first year was incredibly hard, especially because our daughter was small. I was like, at least you can FaceTime us, because, you know, when my uncle was driving, there wasn't even cell phones. Like, when he started, when I was little, I'm older than I look, and like, cell phones were not a thing. So you would have been like calling from the payphone at the truck stop. And my uncle would tell us, like, there were I think this was when cell phones were starting to come out, and he owned the company. So I think he had one of the bigger, like, cell phones, but a lot of people didn't. And there would be lines of drivers at the payphones at the truck stops trying to call home. So I said, at least you're not having to deal with that, and you can see us, like, when he would stop for the night, like, he can see us and FaceTime us and all of that. So that was incredibly helpful. But the book is written from our daughter's perspective. I wrote, you know, what does that mean to a child when your dad's a truck driver? So it would be from Diana's point of view. So, like I said, it was such a labor of love. And it took a really long time to get it published, that I'm just really happy that we were able to get a finished product. I'm going to try and compose myself one more time so that I can read you a little snippet, and then I'll get into information if you're interested. Not really sure why I even put makeup on, because I figured I was going to tear up when I was going to read the little excerpt, because like I said, I've never been able to read this story, but the makeup is like pretty much off of my face. Anyways, let's see if we can get through this, because I don't think anybody wants to just sit here and listen to me cry. So it's written from our daughter's perspective, and it is about 10 pages. Like I said, my husband did the pictures, and these are all photographs that he took. Like, we knew kind of what we wanted on the pictures. So there's like a heavy equipment. My daddy drives a semi truck that's very big and loud. When I sit inside with him, I feel like I'm in the clouds. So that's actually Diana. Like I said, we manipulated the photos and tried to make them look like watercolors, but that is actually Diana sitting in the truck. I'm not going to read the whole story because, like I said, I won't make it through it. Semi trucks are huge and stand very tall. And the verbiage is, like I said, she's almost 5. She was like 3 when we started. So the verbiage is of what, a smaller child would comprehend. When I stand next to it, I feel very small. So you can see her there. I think the pictures actually came out fairly well. I think Mike did a good job. That was definitely way harder. My daddy hauls equipment of all shapes and sizes. Writing the story was way easy compared to how long it took to do the pictures, especially because he was on the road when he was doing this. So he would send me a few and I would send him on, and then he would send me a few, and then he did the cover. And I had to have him approve. I had him approve like the layout and stuff, because some of it's confusing. Like when you're being emailed stuff and it's like a big spreadsheet kind of a thing. He's gone for a long time, but he always brings home surprises. I miss him when he's gone. it makes me very sad. But when he comes back home, I'm always super glad. So that is an actual picture of Mike and Diana. We might actually get through the whole story. My daddy drives a semi-truck that's very big and loud. So here we have another picture. This is the truck Mike used to drive. He actually is in this truck now. He wasn't in this truck. He just liked, his friend owns this one and he's actually driving in this one. But at the time he was in this one. But it's an important job that makes me very proud. So here's, try and get through it since we're almost to the end here. So there we go. It's probably a little disjointed because I stopped, but there you get the gist of it. So it's from Diana's perspective. And yeah, it's just a book for semi-truck drivers, kids, because there aren't any books for semi-truck drivers, kids. We haven't really worked to push it out to truck stops that much. When Mike's home, we're going to try. We have all the mailers and the flyers and stuff to send out for it. We just haven't had time. Like I said, we had another baby and he's been on the road. So it's a whole thing. Like that's time consuming, but yeah. I will leave my publisher's information down below if you're curious who we went through. And then this book is available on Amazon. You can buy it through the publisher's website, but I just have everybody go to Amazon because it's easier to find. So I will leave the link down below if you're interested in supporting us. It is a little bit more on the pricier side. We had no control over pricing for the book at all. The publisher about halfway through told us what the price point was going to be, and we were already too far in at that point. So it is what it is. Like I said, it's information that we can carry on to the next one and change things, because I would like to do another one. But yeah, I will leave the link to the book on Amazon down below if you want to support us. But yeah, I'm very, very proud of it. Like I said, it was 2 years is a long, long time to do a project. So it was a true labor of love. But yeah, I figured I would share that with you guys because I never said anything. I posted about it on Instagram, but I've never talked about it on this channel. So yeah, thank you guys so much for sticking through. I'm sure that was a rough video to get through, but yeah, I appreciate you for watching. And yeah, hopefully you guys, if you decide to get the book, you like it. So yeah, thank you guys so much. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and hopefully I will see you in another video very, very soon. Bye, everybody.